Welcome to another edition of Hunk of Junk Car Mods Garage. Today we are going to be installing piston rings and rod bearings. So let's get started. Alright. We first took and ordered rings for this, but come to find out this motor had been built before. We took and bought the rings for the year of the motor and they did not fit. What we have is a newer piston. Which is 98, 2000, 2001 on to any of the 302s earlier years. You got to be careful on what piston rings you order. I suggest you mic them out and find out what your size is. These ones that we have here are 16 millimeter, and what you get in your kit, your top ring, your second ring, your oil ring keepers. They also come with an instruction pamphlet. For those of you that's never done it before, it's pretty explanatory. It tells you which ones go where. These are molly rings. So we're going to get started here. We're going to take one of our pistons. We're going to take an oil ring. We start out with the oil ring. We're going to take and install that. Now it doesn't matter which way it goes, up or down. So you just take that, be really careful, get it to go over, don't force it, kind of spread it out a little bit and it'll drop right into place. Alright, now that ring we're going to want to set with your dot on the top of your piston. We're going to want to set that at the 10 o'clock mark. When we tore this motor apart, we found out somebody had all the grooves on the rings lined up. That is a no-no. You will get oil leak into your cylinders. Your car will smoke. You want to take one of your oil ring keepers, which are your real thin rings. You want to take and start with the bottom. Take and ease that out. Don't try to really stretch them out. Easiest way I found to do it is take that ring, start it in the bottom, like so. Work it around and it'll drop right into place. Now this one you want to set at the 3 o'clock position. You just turn them around, be a little careful with them. Make sure you don't move your oil ring. Make sure we got that. Yeah, 10 o'clock. Now we got this one at the 3 o'clock. And we're going to put this one here at our 9 o'clock. We're going to work it around and drop it in. Alright, that one is at our 9 o'clock position. So you have one on one side and the other one on the other side. Now we go from there to our second ring. Put that piston there. Now we're going to take our ring expander, set our ring in it, make sure we got our dot upright. Alright, we got our dot upright. We're going to gently squeeze that open enough to get around the piston. Get it into our second line groove. And there it is. Now they're going to be a little sloppy. They're not going to fit tight. That's what the ring compressor is. A ring expander here. I hope I didn't call it a ring compressor. Alright, so that ring is in. Now we want this ring to set with the groove, the spacing, at the 12 o'clock position. Or better yet, we'll do our second one at the 6 o'clock position. Alright, that is our 6 o'clock position. So we have one at 3 that goes on our oil ring, one at 9 that goes on our oil ring, top and the bottom. We have our second ring at 6 o'clock, and now we're going to go with our top ring. And our top ring will be at 12 o'clock. Put that in our ring expander. There we go. Right. Pretty sloppy on here, but that's okay. When they go together, shouldn't be no problem. Alright, so let's do the rest of our piston. Alright, now that we have our rings installed on our pistons, we had checked our clearance for our rings in our cylinders. Alright, what we do is we're going to check our gap in our rings. We're going to take these and we're going to put them in like this. Put them down in there, get us a piston. We're going to use the top line on the piston. Right here, use the top line. We're going to set that in there. We're going to make sure everything's even. We have our feeler gauge. 035, okay, let's see here which one we got. 035, it won't fit. 030 won't fit. 025. 032. Alright, there's our gap. Which we're perfectly into that because it's an 032 813 millimeter, and that's where our gap is at, so we should be good all there. And we'll go through and we'll check each one of them. Now we're going to take and put 2 hoses on your bolt so that you do not score the crank. Now we take this This is our number 1 piston. This is the front of the motor here facing me. This is the front of the dot on the piston. Going to go to the front of the motor. So we're going to take that, we're going to put it like this. Alright, you're going to go through. I don't know if you see that or not. You're going to go through and check your rings. Make sure your rings are all set in the clockwork motion that they should be. Again, top ring should be at 12 o'clock. Bottom ring should be at 6 o'clock. The second ring. This one here to slide for me. Alright, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We're going from top to bottom. The next ring, which is your oil keeper slot, should be at 9 o'clock. And your oil groove ring, we'll call it, the wavy one, should be at 10 o'clock. And your bottom one should be at 3 o'clock. Okay, so we got them here. We'll get this set up. I'm going to take our ring compressor. We're going to place it on there. Just be careful with it. Make sure I'm going to turn this over here. Put this on here. We're going to set it down below oil ring, about halfway down it. We're going to take our Allen wrench that comes with our thing, and we're going to start squeezing. Hold in place. The rings are in your groove. Double check everything. That's good. Try to keep this ring compressor lined up. Alright, and we're going to take our dot to the front of the motor. This is number 1 cylinder here. We're going to slide that down in there. Get our piston ready. And we are going to make sure everything's flush. Put our tolerance on it. Make sure the rings are in there. Okay, what I got is I got my crank positioned so that it's at the bottom. So when it does come down through, the piston is already put in the motor before it touches the crank. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a hammer. We're going to gently tap the piston down in. Make sure that thing is staying where it needs to be. Checking our clearance here. Got our piston in. Put this here so this thing so I can rotate. Take the crank, we're going to turn it so that we can pull the little rubbers off. There's our two sets there. And we're going to take this one. Slide that down in there. Should have put this on before I put the piston in. I'm getting in a rush here. But if you do, this can be done without hurting the piston. Or you can just simply take the piston back out. Put that in that groove. Where our groove is at. Alright. Take that one, put a little bit of lubricant on it. Come on, dude. There we go. Alright, move that baby up really good. Crank around, being careful. Place. Right now we're going to tap this in place until we get it up to where we can. Alright, here's our cap for number 1. Now that has a number 1 on it. And it has a number 1, and you should line the cap up with the number 1. We're going to shut our bearing in there into the groove. Again, just like the main bearing, you're going to put one thumb on, you're going to push that down in on the other side. You do not want to push them in the center. You push them in the center, you take the chance of bending them, and then it won't do no good. Alright, we got that in there. That's good. Take our lubricant. Lube up the whole bearing. I like to do it heavy, number 1 to number 1. Set that cap on there. Now you can take and hold the piston, give it a little bit of a tap. And get our nuts. Put our nuts on. We're going to want to snug them. You'll see where the wear, if you're rebuilding the motor, you'll see where they were on there originally. Try to put them back on the same direction. And there we go. Alright. You can take your socket, put it on there. Finger tighten them with that. Alright. We have our first number 1 piston in. Flip the motor back over. And what is the cylinder that goes with it? Well, the book says And of course, you might already know if you've built enough of them. The book says for Ford 302 HO 351 400 V8 engine firing order 137-26548. So, what is the next one we need? Would be number 5, which is the opposite of number 1. 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, 8, or 4, 8. Now we go through here into our pistons. We look for number 5. Number 3 there. Number 8. You can put them in order beforehand. I didn't. Number 4. This should be number 5. This is number 5. Alright. Now, take the nuts off of it. We have the nuts on it. Here. Take our cap off. Now we're going to do it the right way. But again, the first way that I showed you there, if you make the mistake and forget your bearing to put on, you can do it that way. It just has to be really, really careful how you do it. Put the bearing in there, put the groove in, put your finger on top of there, and slide that into place. It's fairly easy to push in. Make sure everything is where it needs to be. Get them nice and tight with both fingers on there. Alright, we have that. So what we can do is put our little hoses on. I have some little bent hoses so that it will bypass. Okay. Making sure where our groove should be on our piston. Alright. Again, noon, 6. Bottom one, top one of the oil ring keepers should be at 3 or 9. And the other one should be at 3. Alright. Now hold this there. This. Sorry you can't see it, it's on my lap. Take the spring compressor. Put that in there. Open it up a little more. In there. Allen wrench. Take it forward with the first one. Trying to keep this thing as straight as possible. When you get so far, just double look, double check yourself, make sure your ring is not popped out of the groove. Let it crushed in there, make sure she's straight. Okay. Now, take this one, dot to the front. Slide her down in there carefully. You don't score your cylinders. In here like she should be. Make sure she's flush. And check this motor. You won't be able to see it this time. Get that like that. You'll be able to get the idea of what I'm doing. As far as position as possible. Take a hammer, hold our little rubber hoses. Tapping, make sure this is all straight on there. Tapping. Tap nice and gently, no matter how long it takes you. You'll feel it if a ring stick. Bring it down. It kind of sounds like the ring's stuck on it. Good. Wrench. Have a crank down there, that's why you got to make sure that it sits there tight. Tap, there, popped right in. Alright. Put this motor over. And then make sure you put it down in there. There. Marks and grooves on that. Take a lube. Put it in there. Okay, a couple of drops here and there. I am one that likes to soak them. Even if I gotta take my finger and rub it around on there. Make sure you can't never have enough assembly lube on them. Crank. Make sure you get the rubbers off. That one loose. Still on there, and the crank down. Rubbers off. Motor back up. Holding it with one finger, tapping number 5 into place. I don't know if you could hear that or not when she's set in. It gives a different tone. Just a wooden hammer. And up like that. Cap, the bearing on it, holding it in like this, pushing down on this side, do not push in the middle. Okay, now number to number, 5 is on the outside here, number 5 is there, get the lube. On there. Set it into place. Push down on it. Take the nut. Next nut, put that on there. Some guys may do this different than I do. Some guys say not to turn the crank. As long as you got them snug. and down on there tight, you should be okay. I've never had a problem over the years. Alright, so we have 1 and 5 in already. So that's how you put them in. Let's do the rest of them. We have all our rod bearings in, connecting rod bearings. We have them all snugged up. You look to the book or online, and it says that our bearing nuts, our rod bearing bolt nuts, need to be between 19 and 24. So split that, let's go 21. So we're going to crank them down to 21. So we grab our torque wrench, 11, and we're going to start in the middle. So we need our middle. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. We're going to start in the middle, turn this, go up, crank it down to 11. Right. Now we set our dial. So now all our connecting rod caps, nuts are torqued to 21, which is halfway in between 21.5, happy number. Some can go to 25 if they want. I prefer to go in between. So, right there is our main and rod bearings. Our pistons are in. Everything looks good. Well, that's it for this time. Join us next time when we go to do the heads. And we're going to be rebuilding the heads. We're going to take them, pull them all out, reseat the valves, and we're going to take and put new springs, new keepers and stuff in. So remember, like, subscribe, and share. Till next time, have a great day.